All right. So what is the genetic test / DNA that you offer at Integrity Wellness?
Oh, great question. So the DNA genetic testing that we offer is a very specific genetic test that looks at your body's ability to do certain things that the environment itself would either set the gene off or not. So it looks at your true risk of the epigenetics in your life, creating an expression of the genes. So, for example, if stroke or Parkinson or post-concussive syndrome, there's genes that are linked to these specific diagnoses or these specific conditions. And there's certain things in the environment that and risks in our lives that heighten that potential. So it's really helpful to know, where are you sitting genetically at risk for that period, right? Just in and of itself, what are your genes saying? And then to be able to say if you're at a higher risk or there's more of a predominance of a potential for that risk of the gene expressing itself over time, then it's going to give us so much more capability to enhance and improve your life and all of the inputs in your life to avoid that expression occurring over time. It looks at your body's ability to detoxify. It looks at your body's ability to methylate or break things down or convert them from one form to another so that your body can use it. Looks at your body's inflammation and how well it recognizes tumors through your immune system. It looks at hormone levels. I shouldn't say levels, but it looks at how well your body genetically regulates or metabolizes or eliminates hormones, and which is really important, especially in today's day and age when we have so many people that have hormone disruption, and through various different routes and modes of that occurring. So if we learn this information ahead of time, then we have a better chance of not allowing some of this to express over time in our physical bodies and in our physical life. And if it has already expressed, we have a lot of new ways that we can actually target and manage to reverse some of those effects from epigenetics on these specific genes. It isn't all that complicated, but I may have complicated a bit by using the word expression, but that's what genes do, right? Genes are, your DNA expresses the proteins that they're coded to so that your body shows what that's meant to be expressing. So your eye color and hair color, those are fixed, right? Those are not going to necessarily be affected by epigenetics. And that's why we're not looking at that specific type of genetic testing. We're looking at only the genes that we know are modifiable through epigenetics and that have major impacts or implications in a human life if they are present and expressing. And so we're trying to improve health before there's any signs of distortion or disease. And an ounce of prevention is way better than anything else, right?
Of course. So we get the blueprint of your genetics and we basically look at all the potential for certain conditions or call it, I guess, diseases they be that could occur
Right.
Not guaranteed, but could occur. And of course, this is all depending on your genetics, which then from there, you would sit with a member
Hmm.
and go over a plan to prevent all these as they age. And not only will your plan help them prevent all of these potentials, if there are any, of course, and
Hmm.
everyone is different, but they will then feel way better in life because they're now optimizing by giving the body what it actually needs. And
Right.
um, before I ask, I'll just say that we all feel that deep down that, oh, it's there's something, there's something that I need to be taking more of or less of, or I went through a specific period where I was like my own little lab rat, where I was trying all kinds of different things and feeling different things, but I can never really pinpoint it down. It's kind of like diet. It's so hard to really pinpoint it down,
Yeah,
but the genetic test can really lay it out for you.
absolutely.
And wow, does it help, right? So
Yeah.
my question is, what place does the genetic test have at Integrity Wellness? Like,
Hmm.
why is it included here, and where do you guys send
Hmm.
the swab off to, right? Like, I
Right.
guess maybe you could speak to, if someone ordered one, how would that work, right?
Right. So we have very fundamental principles that we live by and we practice by in here at Integrity Wellness. And the DNA fit test fits because it we recognize that every human being is individual, that there is no other person like you. There never will be, there never was. You're as unique as your fingerprint and as your voice tells us you are. And so your genetics are the same. So it helps guide us in helping empower you to make the choices that are actually right for you and not just with a blanket approach. So it's very different than what most people are used to. And um, to me, it's the way that when I trained in medicine, we were meant to actually be applying medicine to the person, to the individual that's before us, understanding that very value first, right? Is that every person is unique. So you have your own blueprint, and I actually call the results your user's manual. So, like, it's like your car owner's manual. It's got all of the information in there that is really useful. There's, not everything, obviously, but it is really useful. And when you take these big categories, instead of looking at very specific details of, certain proteins or, certain supplements, when you actually know, sorry for the brief interruption. I was discussing the individualized nature of the DNA test and why that's so important. And really, what it comes down to is for the most part, we're not able to understand with great certainty what kinds of supplements or minerals or macromolecules or micromolecules that we really need for our own bodies. We just kind of go with whatever's trending, whatever's fad. We don't know all of that much. I'm talking general population. We don't know that much about, you know, our inflammatory systems. We don't know how well it's working or our detoxification system. So the DNA test gives us the information all about you. So what vitamins and minerals and how well your body can break those down and use them, it tells us that. So it gives you very targeted, very directive information on supplementation. So over time will save you lots of money, lots of hassle, and lots of searching, right? There's people searching and searching, like you said, it's hard to pinpoint it when you don't actually have legitimate information about yourself. Um, and looking at levels in your body is not necessarily the way to do that either, right? Because those levels are going to change moment to moment. So this is something that will never change about you, and it's always present, and it's really important. How well your body can actually break things down and convert them from one um, version that you take into your body, right, as a supplement or as a tablet, and how your body utilizes that. There's a process called methylation that has to happen. And whether your body can do that effectively or not, we need to know, because we don't know that. So this test gives us that information. It also gives us information on, people's risk of mental health, depression, um, compulsive nature. It gives us a lot of information about the human that's sitting right in front of us. So in my clinic, Integrity Wellness, we focus really heavily on allowing the body to um, resist or get rid of resistance, basically. So open space in your body, create more flow and charge, because most of the problems in the human body are a result of that. And so if your body has the propensity to not be able to deal with inflammation well, or not to be able to eliminate things well, my clinic is super helpful, right? So this test is a nice complement to what we're doing, so that I can really give people the personalized care that they're looking for, and the directions that they've been searching for a long time.
Fantastic. So if I want to order one, I
Yes.
know, like, for example, when I mentioned this to my father one time at the dinner table, he's like, "Oh, they will steal your DNA, and like, yeah, the government has you all locked up after that, and it's only a matter of time before they track you and everything you do." At Integrity Wellness, you have specifically picked
Mm-hmm.
a certain lab that will do the testing and then, I guess, compromise the DNA. Is that what they would do?
I'll explain. Yeah, so we use DNA Power, and the company is a wonderful company. They've been absolutely incredible. They're very ethical, and they're out of BC in Canada. So it's a Canadian company. We're supporting local, and they absolutely do not compromise your privacy and your security. And so once your test has been completed and reported, and they've uploaded the results in the portal, our portal, they actually destroy your DNA sample. They do not keep it. They do not send it to another company. They do not use it in any other way other than what it was agreed to and intended for. So that was a huge indicator for me that this was an aligned company. And that's how I make all my choices, pretty much, is to make sure that they're ethical, compassionate, and that they're supporting the same values that I support, which are obviously privacy and autonomy. So they do, and they're a wonderful company out of BC and Canada. So we use them. And the swab itself is not anything onerous. It's a cheek swab, and some people are okay doing it for themselves. It's can be self-administered. Most people just have it done while they're here in the clinic, because we have them on site, and we offer different packages, right? So that we can combine things and save people some money.
Sounds fantastic. And I love what you said before, that once they get the genetic tests and you sit with them and create a plan of action for them, then coming here is like a huge compliment to not only giving, like, you give your body what you need now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Knowing what you genetically need. And then you start giving your body all the essential information through the modalities here. And it's like, that's when you really take it to another level of just wellness and energy levels. And I was planning to actually do a testimonial a while back about what I felt. And after getting my genetic test, which I will speak about sometime shortly,
Yeah.
that like, wow, like, hold on a second, let me do the testimonial in like, a few weeks or so, because now I'm really starting to see
Mm-hmm.
total changes in just how I'm feeling and how I'm sleeping and my energy levels throughout the day. And that was already improving without the genetic test. And now it's like a significant upgrade.
Yeah.
So super excited to talk about that for
Yeah, me
sure.
too. I'm excited. I love hearing people's stories when they come back after they've had their consult with me. And I give them, I actually give them a sheet that I have prepared myself with the various recommendations that are personalized. And um, they come back to me and they tell me the things that they've noticed. It's been really profound, some of the improvements that people have had in their energy, in their hormonal cycles, in their inflammation, pain, that kind of thing, just because we've tweaked a few things. And the one point I'd really, really like to emphasize here is when you look at the nature of medicine or the alternative medical world, uh, supplementations and all of the various options, they're almost forever changing. There's always new information. There's always something that's new. Your genetic test never changes. And the process that I have here is fundamental. The fundamentals and the basics never change. So if we just take those two things and we meet them in the middle and we move from there to create a plan, right, that's totally unique for Jesse, of course you're going to be winning, right? And so it's really exciting to see the the level up that people have just by pairing those the DNA test with what we're doing here. It's very targeted and very specific for them. It's awesome.
A doctor in the Caribbean once told me, it was like, all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the things you take are useless. Like, your body doesn't need it, and it doesn't even absorb it. Your body already has all the intelligence it needs. You're just wasting money buying vitamins. And at the time, like, I never took vitamins specifically, but at the time I didn't really believe what he said. I kind of deflected it.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until hearing your perspective and listening to you over time that he actually had some truth to him, because
Mm-hmm.
really your body doesn't need half the stuff you're probably taking, and it can't even use the other half that it's probably taking. But you might feel better because maybe only 1% of it that your body truly needs is being absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
So this test, which you only have to do one time
One
in
time.
your life,
Mm-hmm.
tells you exactly what you need more of,
Yeah.
and what you already are good at, and or your body's already good at processing. And once you fill in those blanks, it's like, wow, the whole picture is really starting to show itself. And it's
Yeah.
only until you start coming to Integrity Wellness more often, then that's when it really gets holographic and
Yeah.
looks quite incredible.
Yeah.
What are the top vitamins or supplements or whatever it might be, trace minerals or
Mm-hmm.
herbs, adaptogens, whatever it is? What are, I guess, the top ones that you just recommend in general to everyone? And
Mm-hmm.
then we'll wrap up there.
Okay. So the doctor in the Caribbean that you are mentioning, there's definitely insight and wisdom there. The caveat is that the way that we live in modernity, the vast majority of people are so far disconnected from the routes of optimization of the human biology and the, incredibly complex quantum computational system that we are, right? And it will generate and does generate everything that we need. But we are not at the place where that's actually happening because of the way we live. So some supplementation is required, depending on where you live. And so I just focus mostly on North America because we are living here, and this is what I know really well. And in North America, unless you're, at the coasts, we're not anywhere where there's salt water. We have all fresh water. And so we're pretty deficient in a number of things. We also don't have sunlight 6 months of the year, basically, right, where we can expose ourselves enough to absorb and increase our vitamin D levels. So we're deficient in iodine. We're deficient in magnesium. We're deficient in vitamin D for the most part, and boron and selenium. And so these are the 5 kind of general recommendations that I tend towards for most people. And the reason is, again, because of where we live and the propensity for deficiencies and what those deficiencies can result in for human life. Now, again, if things were different, right, if we were living in a time period where we're consciously aware and we're conscious beings again, and we are connected to nature, we're eating living things, we're drinking, hydrogen rich or Brown's gas water, right, all the time, that's highly structured. I could go on in the basic principles. If we were living by those basic principles all the time, your body is absolutely capable and does generate everything that it needs. We don't live in those times. So supporting your body the best you can to be able to do that, or at least uptake the nourishment that you're gaining from the modalities here or from the supplementation that you're using, is ideal for what we can do in these times and where we're at.
Awesome. I think we'll wrap up there. So definitely you're looking to invest in yourself and figure out all the preventative measures that you can potentially face later on, and as well as fill in the blanks for all the exact vitamins and minerals, diet, exercise, mental health, hormone regulation that you specifically need. Then there's no other better test out there than getting this genetic DNA test and then topping it up with being intentional, coming to Integrity Wellness.
Absolutely.
Thank you for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And the DNA test, like you said, it's bang on, and it's one time, and the results are going to change. So you don't have to keep guessing. It takes out the guessing work that people are constantly searching for. So I really love that. So if you want to stop searching, right, for the supplements or the answers or the this or the that, just commit and invest in yourself and have it done and see the results, and it'll confirm a lot of things that you are already knowing about yourself too, which is beautiful. And so I just thank you for your time too.
Om Soham